Florida's fiscal freefall is the centerpiece for a 2009 legislative session that will be all about the money or lack of it. We'll size up the good, bad, and ugly elements of this session on this edition of Power Play with our guests, Mary Ellen Klas, Bureau Chief of the Miami Herald, and Mike Vasalinda, Bureau Chief of Capitol News Service. So the session begins with the governor's State of the State. What is the State of the State?
Well, I think the state of the state is in pretty dire situation, and the governor is going to be doing what he's been doing pretty aggressively in the last few weeks, and that is really urge this legislature to take the federal money, accept this stimulus plan, and use it so that we can stave off further budget cuts and maybe turn things around.
But Mike, the stimulus money is not recurring revenue. It's just a short-term help. How big a help?
Well, I mean, I think it's a great big help. I mean, $4.7 billion in the coming budget year alone. But the question is will 3/5 of the legislature say that's a good idea? I think the governor set the stage for it when he announced his budget, and he said, who's going to go home and say we got $12 billion and we're not going to take it to help your kid? That's the dilemma the legislature faces.
What are the other cutting-edge revenue and budget issues, taxes, fees, the principal ones that are going to be facing lawmakers?
The cigarette tax, I think, is the first thing that's out there that seems to have
everybody.
Pack. Dollar a pack. They say $750 million. It could be more. It could be $1 billion. There's $1 billion some packs sold a year.
Does it have a shot?
I think it does. I think it's not going to be a dollar pack. I think on top of the 60 cents that the federal government has put in, we'll maybe see, the difference. Maybe we'll see 40 cents, something more than the 36 cents we pay now. We'll also see a lot of talk, I think, about how far we go on sales tax exemptions, which exemptions get to be eliminated. The Senate is going to aggressively, I think, eliminate things. The House is not as eager.
Well, we had the controversy with former Speaker Sansom, so now we got the leadership in place in the Senate and the House and the governor. In a crisis, leadership either steps up or doesn't. Is leadership going to step up this year?
Not in the House this year. I think the House is going to keep beating the governor up and say, we need to cut, and we'll grudgingly accept the stimulus money, but they're going to be very hard to accept much, except maybe, as Mary Ellen said, a portion of that cigarette tax. And I'm betting from my conversations with the tobacco companies so far that they know it's coming. Their goal is to keep it under $1.
Well, no matter how tough times are, and the polls say Floridians, like other Americans, most concerned about their economic well-being, the governor's ratings up there in the stratosphere, the high 60s, low 70s. It's unbelievable at a time like this. And
it is. I think, though, it's to me a very interesting time also to look at where Republicans are, because you've got the House Republicans saying, we don't agree with the governor. He is saying we should take this money, and we're afraid to take it because we think it's going to mean we got to increase government spending. I mean, it's an anathema to the traditional base Republican thinking, and the way the base is thought. However, I think they are going to have a debate on their hands, because if they don't take the money, they may have to raise taxes for schools. Otherwise, they're cutting schools to the bone.
Well, it's leadership to go against your own party, some would say. Mike, we've got this ongoing controversy about Lieutenant Governor Kottkamp's travel and the cost to taxpayers. A lot of this seems to be avoidable, but also it seems he's a victim of the times, and a better economy. Governors of the past and lieutenant governors, their travel was not scrutinized like this.
The reason this is scrutinized is because when you look at his daily or weekly schedule, he spends more time in Fort Myers than he ever spends anywhere else, at least as a base. And despite the fact that it's good times or bad times, I don't really care where he does his job, but that's what provoked people to start looking about how he got back and forth.
But the fact is, governor, lieutenant governor, they're on the job 24/7 wherever they are, and you always have to know where the lieutenant governor is. Do you think this is a fair controversy?
Well, I think it's a fair controversy because we've got to measure it in degrees. Should he be traveling this much, and how much is he doing when he's out there? He's getting a lot of attention right now, and it's because we're scrutinizing everything in this budget.
Okay, we're going to go to your respective power plays of the week. Mike.
I'm going to stick with Charlie Crist and the idea that he wants to put a severance tax on water coming out of the ground, but only for the people that bottle it, not for anybody else that's also using it, like golf courses or agriculture.
Does it have a shot?
Limited, very, very slim.
And yours?
I think it's Governor Charlie Crist and his continuing push to go against the base of his party and say we need to take the stimulus money. I think he's showing leadership, and I think he is going to have to use some of his political chits to get it through the legislature.
Marilyn Klaas, Mike Vasalinda, thank you very much. For the latest political news, go to the Safety Review, and we'll see you next time on Power Play.